What is up, everyone? What is up? This is an unscheduled announcement. I don't know, live stream. Want to welcome everybody back. I know I've been in the dark for quite a while. I've been busy. Really busy. Real life was the big thing, and then that took a couple months, and work was really super busy. And then what else? Gosh, then all this hype about 5G and all that stuff. I was basically just paying attention, but in the back of the background, and just hanging out and just enjoying some kind of time off. I'm super excited to get. I've talked about season 2 for quite a while. I don't have all the plans because basically I've been grinding. With my personal setups. I've got of course, I got the Freedom 5 miner that I announced. I've got some more miners coming in soon that I'll be announcing. Don't have any plans with those just yet. What else? Oh yeah, got a super hot request from Hotspot. So if you are not aware of their tool, I've got a link that will be in the description of this video afterwards. Check them out. I owe them a dedicated demo. I'll go over all that things. Basically, what I was going to do today took so long that I wasn't able to prepare for that. So I will have to punt that just a little bit more. I'm hoping to grind through that. Basically, I'm setting up an antenna, like a big antenna, and pouring concrete, doing rebar, all that kind of stuff. And so it's going to take a while for me to finish that, and I'm running up against weather as the concern. So that is my project. Hopefully, I'm going to be finishing it up by this week. As soon as I get that puppy done, then I'll be able to start motoring on live streams, more content, all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to get a video out there. So the number one thing is, if you've got requests for this season 2 of Helium coverage plus other things, please let me know. Leave a comment, and or if you're in chat, throw that out in chat. I think the replay might be on later too, so you can scroll through that and see if there's any ideas that you can +1 or add in the comments below. So hit me up on Twitter too. Give me a follow at just at Ed Ballou, and you can give me a follow there and just send me a DM. DMs are open. I'm always happy to help out there. The number one question that I've gotten from, by and large, on my relayed video, because that's my most famous one, I think it's over 50,000 views, and it's my most horrible video. But okay, fine. So the biggest question that I get about that is, hey, I've made some changes. I opened up my port and I'm still relayed. The app still says I'm relayed. Basically, the overwhelming thing that I get is, check the pinned comments. If you're not doing those things, it might actually be your router. But if you're trusting the app to give you the results that you're wanting, it more than likely, with all the growth of the network, it's just not going to respond at a nice speed. So what I would recommend that you do is pair with it. Use the Helium app, or also the Helium Hotspot utility. And by pairing with it, you can run the diagnostic test, and it will tell you inbound and outbound. The last thing that you can do is reach out to your ISP. So that's all I can give you for that, to answer that. It's, I'm seeing in the comments, man, Explorer is definitely dragging these days. I'm excited that they added the StakeJoy API as well for backup to those diagnostics. It's just, people are crunching the networks, and it's really tough. From a dev background, I know that they've had typically with APIs that you have like developer keys so that they can kind of constrain who has it, but this is very open. And so the problem with that is that everybody's hitting this thing, everybody's developing software against it, and so it makes it just sluggish. And I noticed that basically, if I want to check my my earnings, over the last few days, over the last few weeks, I finally caught on that if you want to check your earnings, only do it at night or in the very early morning hours for US. Basically, wherever there's most of the miners are at, it's US right now. So that's your performance is going to be in the early morning hours or late night hours. So check that, and that will help you keep abreast of those. Oh, what other stuff? Yeah, so Hotspot video is gonna come. That's like number one on my list. What else? New miners. I talked about that. Oh yeah, there's Helium is like taking off or something. Wow. I'm super excited about that. I hope you all are. I hope you all have benefited from my work over the last year. That's right. About a year ago, I got my first miner and put it inside my house, and it didn't make anything. I waited 2 weeks and then tested a different window. It still didn't make anything. I didn't know about, moving it outside at that time or taking off screens over the windows. And so I just kept experimenting, and finally I moved it outside, and that's when the earnings went through the roof. And so that's basically my story for how I got into Helium. I went from like whatever, like a couple, not even a couple tokens a day. It was like maybe one token a day, which now we're like, oh yay, one token a day. But of course back then it was a lot higher. So I was able to get like whatever, I don't know, like 30 tokens a day. And so I did the math even a year ago, and that was like nice. And so we all hear those totals now, and we're like, whoa, that was so awesome. I'd love to get that. Yeah, we all would. But that's where we're at right now. So I see in the chat how many times I hit consensus. I did a few. I think it was like 2 or 3 times. I think there was one time where it was like, it just kept going. I swear it was like over like 250 tokens in one day. It was it just went crazy. Now, keep in mind, I've taken some profits over the time. I diversified. I continue to do that. Do your own research about when you're going to take profits, and you know what, you might end up taking out too early, and kicking yourself. You might end up taking out at the right time, and then it's party. Don't focus so much on the wins and losses. Keep learning. That's the overall thing of this this channel, and my encouragement to you. That's my encouragement. So keep learning. You'll get there. So, but yeah, think about other tokens too. What else has happened in this space? Not that I have secret information. I have some theories, and I'm going to try a little bit more, or try a little bit less speculation as I go into season 2. I found that like towards the end, I was kind of doing some LARPing a bit. And so I'm going to try and tone that down, and try and really get into the facts. I know I'm still going to be wrong. But from the people that I've been talking to, they said, hey, it's still, you've been, 90 to 95% accurate. There might be the 1 or 2 things you're off on. So that's great. So make on that, like and subscribe. My work is showing itself. So yeah, what else? Yeah, so Helium's going through the roof. What's really what's really helping? I want to read this tweet because it was just absolute dope, just fire. And I retweeted it. It is not mine. I'm going to read this person's name so that they get Dennis Argarkov. I can't say it exactly, so I apologize, Dennis, if I messed up your last name. But this is at MRAGARKOV on Twitter. He said, if you think that HNT is too expensive to buy at all-time high, consider this. 5G hasn't even dropped yet. Dish has already partnered. We have 3 million gateways pre-ordered, over 250,000 already on the network. Coinbase hasn't even listed yet, and he's saying on average 95% gains. And light gateways are coming, which decreases the cost of deployment. So there's a ton of stuff that is coming. And my little addition on that was, if you had any doubt about those bullet points, go back and look at what Solana did. I remember looking back at Solana and I was like, wow, that's, whatever. It was like 27, 37, something like that dollars. And I was like, oh, they're doing really well. And then I saw like 80, 90 tick by and I'm like, oh man, I missed it. And you could be watching this video thinking you missed it on HNT, and I missed it on Soul because I thought I was done. And here, I don't even know what Soul is at. Somebody's going to throw it out in the comments because they just know what it's at right away. So go look at that chart though. Some of these things are going to be absolute winners. They're going to be ripping the roof off. So go back and study those things if you think you missed it too late. And some of the things that I've also heard from the people that I've been kind of mentoring in this space that are just coming to crypto, I've said don't get hung up on the price. Order a little bit. If you put in $10 and it goes up 50%, well, now you have $15, right? So think about that, just like little gains stacking up and here and there, and it'll teach you a lot about savings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just a lot of great stuff coming out of that tweet that I would encourage you to go check out. So Solana is at 239. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, 249. 239, well, whatever. It's super high, and like to think that you've missed the boat on these awesome crypto projects. I mean, yeah, do your own research, and it's tough to find those big boomers like that. But yeah, I'm bullish on a couple other crypto as well. So but that's all not financial advice. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see what I'm paying attention to. I don't hide it. Over the break, I have also gotten into some NFTs, purchased a couple of those. It's a lot of fun. I tweeted tonight, NFTs are the new tattoos. So go ahead and go get yourself a full sleeve. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's a good question, Simon. How are my deployments going? Little known fact, when I got my original pile of miners, I deployed out in the middle of nowhere, and I created a pod, and I found hosts that like I've known for years and who know me, and not all of the people that I like, though they're my friends, they just weren't interested in it. But the few that were, I said, here you go. And we worked out a deal. And this was at the time when miners were going for $8,000 a piece. And I just told them that. And I said, I'm not going to do that. That's not how I roll. We're going to do these at costs for what I got them for. And we'll just go from there. And so basically I said, I'll take the tokens and you can take the miner and we'll go from there. And as soon as we reach whatever it is at that time, then we chuck over the token or change ownership of the miner. So basically it was like, I don't know, a half dozen, 8, I don't know, something like that. 5 to 10 miners, out in the middle of nowhere. We got a pod going and it was great. I mean, they were all feeding on themselves. For the most part, a couple of them were struggling, so we had to work with some antennas. I ordered a bunch of rack enclosures, and if you remember, I did a live stream and I talked about the rack enclosures. I've got a few more on order, and I'm going to do a specific video just on that. And with all the tips and tricks. And then I forgot about the Bobcat enclosure. So I'm basically contacting the manufacturers to see if they can, hey, I bought a lot of these. Can you just send me one and I'll do a video on it? Because I just want to highlight the differences between the Bobcat enclosure and and then the rack enclosure. And then they have that new solar shield as well. Question came up, do I have any on cell towers? No. Although one of my hosts, he may be looking at doing that. There's actually a cell phone tower. I call him my host, but he's not anymore. But that's what I call him. So he has a cell tower on his property that I don't know if he's investigated how to get it up there. Obviously it takes permission and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, super jealous of him, but I was like, you let me know if you get that, or if we want to do some 5G deployments on there or something like that. I'm sure we could work something out. So yeah, let's see here. They're all motoring along at a couple or whatever the max earnings. Like now, like remember last year I had that awesome setup and doing really well. Well, now my same spot that was doing whatever 30 tokens plus a day last year is now at that 1.5 tokens a day, sometimes below, like 0.75 HNT a day. Now, the ones in that pod that I've created are actually sometimes even outperforming me. So that means that there's ubiquity in the network, and that it's really like that. That's a great cell that or cluster that we've set up. And so all those miners are distributed now to their owners. And so that was a good thing. A good when I signed off, because one of them took forever. They were living out a little bit more away from the cluster, and so it was very interesting to experience that the even though there was enough miners within range, it just wasn't hitting, all the miners. It was connecting with a few of them. And even though we were getting them up and on enclosures, it still wasn't connecting. And yet there would be like odd instances of like witnesses from over 30, like over 30 kilometers away. So yeah, if you want a dope tip, go out to the rural. If you can get enough miners, go out into a rural area and get going there, because that's going to help, because it's growing. That you can grow outwards, but you're going to be overtaken very quickly. So if you just go out in the middle of nowhere and get your hotspots lined up, or have family members, and then you start with them and then grow out from there. It takes work, it takes time, but the network starts building, and it goes from there. It's slow, it takes time, but of course you start getting those texts. So I got one today from one of my former hosts. Says, yeah, hey, my brother would like to get a miner. Is there any chance that you could hook us up? Because they're seeing HNT do so well, and so now it's reverberating. So you're going to get those bubbles of influence around um, just you being an advocate for helium. And so now I've got people that are starting their own. I don't think anybody started their own YouTube channel, but there's one former host that started their own Facebook group, and so now they're talking about helium, and like these guys are into like radio and stuff, and like it's fun to just see these communities just explode. So yeah, let's see here. Have I gotten into making sensors with the rack wireless dev kit? I have it. I have not been able to get back to that. That is on my list. There's a ton of activities over winter that's going to keep me busy. But right now, my focus is basically getting this 5G set up such that I can hopefully just, unfortunately, the outdoor radios aren't going to be out until January. So I'm not going to be able to get out there. Like I'm gonna have to shimmy up in some ice storm or something like that to put the radio up there for outdoor. But basically, that's going to be all. Like my entire focus is getting that thing up and seeing what happens, and then of course documenting all the learnings for y'all, and then sitting back and just making content for the rest of the winter. And so it'll be good to get my stuff set up, and I gotta say, I am not getting any of the, like with last time it was like, oh hey, you're a YouTuber, you can shill our stuff. Well, now it's like I gotta wait in line with the rest of you, and so I don't get any frontline support. I like there's a couple times where I've thought about throwing that out, and even with Freedom 5, I'd love to be like, oh please get me like an outdoor and radio that I could just like I don't care if they uh, you know dive into it all the time and like check out diagnostics and stuff. Like yes, I can get the content going, and that really helps, but just the learnings and all that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to watch. So if you haven't heard, Dish Network is starting in Las Vegas with their intentions there. So it'll be interesting to just pay attention. I'm assuming they just got to hash out a lot of the interim stuff to see what happens with the network to make sure that it's totally viable for all of us to start jumping on board. So yeah. Um, let's see here. Speaking of enclosures, how worried should I be about my Bobcat in the garage in the Wisconsin winter with temperatures below zero? So now I haven't heard about freezing temperatures. I actually have my Bobcat is in a shed right now. It's all locked up and stuff, but we'll see. I know that they run a little bit hot. I checked it the other day, and it was like I think like 48 degrees Celsius was the diagnostics. And that's just a tip. Go and look at the diagnostics. Like that diagnostic portal is so awesome. I actually sent them a message like I don't know, like a week or two ago. And I said, "Hey, is there any way that you could get the little status light in the dashboard?" Like being a software developer, I know those easy wins. Sometimes they're super, super easy. I was like, yeah, why didn't you ask for that? So I asked them, and they were able to get that in within like a week or two. Like, I was like, my mind was blown. I'm like, this is agile development. Oh my gosh, they're listening to what I said and said, hey, let's put that in there. And so the indicator is now in there. So I'm like, that's awesome. So go check your dashboard, and even I think it was like it got down to like I don't know the 30s, maybe below freezing. There's definitely a frost, and it was still at like I said 48 degrees Celsius. So I think that they're going to keep themselves warm. Almost any miner you get, they're going to be able to keep themselves warm, and not really have a problem in the winter. The recommendation that I got was that the higher temperatures are the ones you want to watch for. And what I'm starting to see is there's all these enclosures that are coming out now with fans on them. So my hot take, and again, it's not research based yet, is that the hot side is more dangerous than the cool side. So keep that in mind. Now, one other thing that I'll um, tell you is for those that are still waiting on their Nebra. So I've been using mine, and I was doing some testing with it. Like normally, it was just laying on its like normal style. Like I didn't have it up on its end. Well, it just so happened that when I moved it up on its end, and I left it there for a few days, and then I was doing some experimenting, and it fell off the shelf, and the top just popped off, and I was like, whoa, oh, that's not good. I hope I didn't break it. And so when it did though, I noticed that obviously like that top just pops off, which was like, oh cool, now I can see what's inside. And then I looked inside of it, and there was a heat sink attached to the most prominent part of the Nebra, right on top there. And what I had noticed was that the heat sink had like come awry. So if you remember back to the Xbox 360 days, and the red ring of death was caused by a heat sink that heated up too much and then like floated away from where it was supposed to cool, if I remember right. Well, that's what happened to this. And so something is like it's heating up that adhesive that's making it melt away and melt off place. So I was able to push it back because it was still hot, but now I'm probably going to do the same thing that they did for that some people did for their Xboxes, is take a couple pennies and glue it to the side right where it's supposed to, and then have a nice standoff there that will keep that nice and tight. But yeah, so I'll show that sometime on a stream or something, on a video, just some things that you can check on your miners. Let's see here. What else has been going on? Yeah, that's been about it. Just been experimenting with, the different hotspots, and watching people, helping with theirs, helping former hosts. Yeah, so it's been exciting. Just kind of sit back and realize the fruits of your efforts, and yeah, just enjoy the Helium community. Let's see here. Can I send my address for best antenna? I'm not sure what you mean by sending your address. Oh, I think, as far as, like, elevation, like, so I think I've said this on multiple streams. Like, honestly, I'd get, like, well, I'm kind of a fan of BRAC. You can experiment with other antennas, totally, but I get basically all the rack antennas. I get the 3 dBi, the 5.8, and the 8, and I just rotate through them on disco mode. Figure out the best one for your setup, because honestly, with the network changing, and especially if you're on the fringes, your network in the cluster around you will change. So you want, and maybe it's a good thing to even check up on your setup and change it from time to time. Do those disco modes, because the more coverage you're bringing, the better your earnings are going to be. So focus on that, and just fine tune your setups. Always be second guessing yourself and just doing those small tests. Like, disco mode is so awesome. Found out from one of our People's Hotspot hosts that they didn't. They had this antenna that they thought, oh, this is going to be great. Like, it was, like, I think, like 6 dBi or something. I can't remember what the dBi was, but it just wasn't working. Whatever they were trying to use wasn't working, and so we got I convinced them to try a different antenna, and just, get it, order it, and try it, and lo and behold, their responses, I think, doubled on the People's Hotspot, and so that was awesome. Um, so yeah, hey Ed, can you take me off the list of the People's Hotspot? I was able to get a rack. Hey, the MNTD, nice, minted. Yeah, Dave, reach out to me on Discord, because I don't know the, like, correlation of Discord names to YouTuber names. So message me on Discord and tell me you got yours. And actually, that's a great call out for the People's Hotspot. If you still don't have your miners, I'm terribly sorry. Um, let's get you on the list. Or maybe you just heard about Helium, and maybe your friend shared this video with you. If you're still in need of a miner and you want to get on the list for the People's Hotspot, I'm actually coming up on a next rotation of hotspots, so get your name on the list. If any of you that are watching have friends that need a miner, that are interested in this, and they have an order in with a manufacturer, tell them to contact me on Discord. I'll get them queued up on the list. Seriously, I'm running out of names on my list, so it's time to pump that list some more, and get the word out, that there's more opportunities to get a miner, even right now. So that HNT seems a little more valuable now. So people are just shucking and driving for some more. So all right. I'm trying to think of if there was anything else that I wanted to focus on. Again, I said drop in the comments any requests for the next year, next season of streaming. I do have a brand new camera that you can't really see in this way. There we go. So this is a 4K camera. I've got another 4K camera on the list. This one does fisheye, and then I think it also zooms. So that will help with, if you remember the Freedom 5 video and it was just zooming like crazy, that was a really crappy camera that I've been not using for my main YouTubing, but for the good old whiteboard view that was, yeah. So there's been some enhancements. There's more to make that I've got to keep working on. I've got some sound deadening stuff to put up. I may even change the background here as well. But yeah, there's lots of stuff in the works. Those referrals actually do help. I try and have it cycle through to help the channel get better as well. So speaking of referrals, some of the payments I still haven't gotten paid because the miners haven't been sent to you yet. So if you've been watching my channel for a long time and you still haven't gotten your miners, rest assured, I still haven't gotten paid. So not that that's a huge complaint. It is what it is. And I'm almost more frustrated that you haven't gotten your miners than me getting paid. So yeah, that's kind of sad. Predictions on what I think with POC V11. So if you just double take on that, POC V11 is the new proof of coverage validation scheme. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be a lot of tweaking. Tweaking is like huge steps in improving coverage. Some of the things are easy, like this miner and this miner are like literally right next to each other, and they're sounding off on each other. They're not even they are using the stock antennas. So basically, just somebody's trying to game the system, or they asserted them in separate hexes and they're still right next to each other. So some easy things like that they're going to be able to detect and just do away with. So if you've been doing that so far, you're going to have to think about your setup again. So now if you're bending the rules a little bit, this is where it starts to get gray, is like if you have an antenna that is like a 3 dBi, and then you have like a 8 dBi that are like stacked on each other or have different elevations, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. And actually, that's one of the tests that I'm going to be intentionally testing with my setup on that antenna. I'm going to have different elevations and different antennas, so it's a legit method of proving coverage, or like it's a legit method of providing coverage and different forms of coverage. So how POCV11 is going to affect it, I don't know. So that's why I'm doing these tests, because I want to have these scenarios in place before POCV11 goes into effect, and then see the differences beforehand. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to that in time, but I'm trying to do my best with what I have right now. Like I said, I've got equipment more on the way. I dealt with supply chain issues, the base things for my big antenna that I'm putting up got uh, ordered. They were supposed to get delivered 1 week, but then they didn't get uh, sent out until the next week after. So literally, I'm still waiting. Oh, let's see here. Will CalChip be shipping out any more Rackmores V2? They had a swap option, but they were more money and missed the deadline. Good point. One of my friends was on the list, and he elected to just wait. Because he way back when he signed up on the People's Hotspot, so he actually got the host. And like I didn't do him any favors. He just came up on the list as the next one in line. So he's like, oh, it'll just be a couple more weeks, maybe. Worst case January. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so so fortunately he just got his minor, and so that's where so CalChip is still sending out Rack V2s. It's just, it seems like it's been a little more delayed than, I did get a chance to talk with some people from Rack, and it was so I asked them, hey, does this really affect what CalChip is still trying to fulfill? And they said, no, not really. They still have commitments that they're fulfilling with CalChip. So like I'm not privy to like agreements between them, but as far as I understand, those agreements are still in place. So my mind like wants to create information, right? In the absence of information, we create information. So I'm going to try and stay away from that. I could do hot takes and speculation and stuff, but it is what it is. And again, I'm going back to, I'm frustrated that you all have ordered miners and you haven't gotten them yet. And so I've been kind of holding back anyways, especially for the 5G part. If I was to give you my hot take as what and I hate this question, people ask it a lot, what's the best miner? And I still default back to the one that you can get. Well, now my answer is, if you can afford it and you can get it, I think the Freedom 5 miner is going to be the best, because it gives you the flexibility to mine LoRaWAN coverage and also 5G coverage. So now, does it perform really well? From my tests so far, it performs just exactly like any of the other Helium miners out there. So yeah, yes, I appreciate the qualification, the one that ships the fastest. Get the miner that ships the fastest, absolutely. Because I remember way back, on day one, I took a look at Nebra and I was like, I think they're the best. And so I was like, yeah, let's get one. But yes, the best miner is the one in your hand. I see a lot of people even doing a little bit of crazy stuff with their miner now that they got it. Keep in mind, if that miner goes down, you're back in the queue for quite a while. Now, is the time coming down? Yes. And then light hotspots when they get there, there's still going to be supply chain issues and stuff. I'm trying to source some other network equipment right now, and I'm having to wait a lot. Like I want to just order it all at once. Nope, you can piecemeal. So we're going one at a time here. So always think about what happens if this miner goes down, or I screw something up, or I plug it in wrong or whatever, and you have no backup. That is very, very important for you to think about having a backup. So all right. Any idea how 5G plus Dish partnership will affect the HNT earnings of established hotspots going forward? Look, they're a hotspot just like any other. If they roll out, do a huge rollout. I mean, think of it. I'm going to a weird level with this, but it's not like as I understand, they're not like a fleet owner. As I understand. I don't think that they're taking a percentage of the profits that I understand. I haven't read enough. Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, if you know better about that. But as I thought I understood is that these are hotspots that are just going to the customer and they're getting the HNT. I don't know. I need to research more in that to make sure. But I thought from what I read is that basically that they were just sending those out to the customers to put. And I don't know if they're like combining equipment and putting the coverage thing in there. I'm not sure how it all works, but I mean, if they're just like any other helium hotspot out there, earnings are going to continue to uh, decrease because the network is growing. And that's just a reality. And so now we're seeing the price shift, which is great. I think I feel a lot better about the earnings now. Are they still probably high? Maybe. Yeah. It seems pretty lucrative again. So I think we'll just go into these shifts. And it's important to think about cycles too. Is like when you felt like the earnings were low enough or too low, and how you feel right now. That goes in cycles. So just think about when that happens and plan accordingly with whatever moves you're going to make in the market, or what moves you're going to do for deployments and stuff. Let's see here. Looking over any other questions in the chat. Gone 37 minutes. I didn't think I had no script for this. So it was just like off the top of my, I'm going to do a YouTube post because I haven't done one in a while, and it's important to get some things out. So last time I'll mention, please put some comments in the YouTube video below or in the chat with your requests for this season 2. What do you want me to focus on? Do you want me to even branch out into other cryptos or other things? I don't know. Just put those comments in, and I'll see where it goes and where it leads me. Or if you want me to keep on 5G and keep on helium and share, of course I will do that, but just give me some feedback there. All right. Wow. 50 miners. Holy buckets. That's quite the investment. I couldn't do that. Oh, Planet Watch. Yeah. Don't get me started on Planet Watch. I actually got some tokens of that. Had a friend of a friend, because you can't buy them as far as I know in the US, or at least on the exchanges that I've tried. So actually had a friend, I think in the UK, get me some tokens. So yeah. So if you haven't heard about Planet Watch, think of like the helium mining that you do right now. Well, there's just this other device that you get that does like similar things, like environmental monitoring stuff. So it has a utility, and then you get paid for its utility in tokens, Planet Watch tokens. And I think the last time I saw, they were like around 30 cents or something like that, between 30 and 40 cents a piece. So, and I expect that to go up. I'm very in favor of environmental monitoring. There's been some actually a really cool use case that I heard about somebody, and I don't know if it was necessarily a Planet Watch sensor, but they did use a sensor to pick up. Um, I think it was at a school, and there was a little too much, I don't know, exhaust or something like that, carbon monoxide or something. Whatever it was detecting that there are higher levels of it, and so they informed the school, I think it was, and lo and behold, they did the research and found that, oh yeah, there's a problem. And so then from this little sensor, they were able to pick up this environmental pollutant and then obviously fix it. So there's a huge application in there. All over the place in work environments to monitor that. So it's going to be great to have these sensors everywhere. Have I tried two antennas to one miner? I have not. I still haven't done that. I know the piece, and I need to just order it and try that. Again, now that I have miners, and then I have enough space to try and be versatile about it, and I don't even mind even taking the half, half, having my rewards on my reward score to try out some of these things and see if they actually uh, prove useful. I've done, of course, I would like to do a lot of mining. I've done enough mining too, such that I'm very happy with my results. Can I do more? Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested in doing more, but this is still an experiment to continuing to research this stuff so that I can pass along those knowledge tips. Um, there are some comments on even the grounding stuff that I haven't gotten back to yet, just because I've been so busy. So, um, yeah. Well, I think we're gonna call it there. Appreciate you guys sticking in here this long and just coming back to the channel. I don't know exactly the cadence that I have. Like I said, I'm fully focused on getting this set up, antenna set up before when winter cold temperatures come in. So I really want to be intentional of that and get it done, and then hopefully I can sit back and just create content for the rest of the winter and do my normal thing. Have beer next time. Yes, I would love a beer. I haven't had a good beer in a while. Um, yeah. For those that are fans, happy N7 day. It's a very exciting time. I'm sure I'll get some comments on that. I did not wear any N7 because it was tough. Like, what do I celebrate here? Helium or N7 day? And if you don't know what N7 day is, you should totally look it up and go buy the legendary edition. I don't get a referral code for that, but that would be cool because I would totally do it. But yeah, I will continue to be around. Thank you again for attending, and till next time, carpe tempestus, everyone. Take care.